They were high draft picks and were supposed to become superstars, but because of laziness, injuries, and incompetent coaches, they struggled and almost became busts.
And they're going to take a look at this.
However, these are stories of players who overcame these early obstacles and became NBA legends. These are the NBA busts who saved their careers. During his senior season at Oregon State in 1990, Gary Payton was featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated as the nation's best point guard. GP was a consensus All-American, a three-time All-Pac-10 selection, and the Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Year. At the time of his graduation, Payton held the school record for points, field goals, three-point field goals, assists, and steals. It was no surprise when the Seattle Supersonics drafted him second overall in the 1990 NBA draft. All his life, Payton was the man, and when he came to the NBA, he was spoiled rotten.
Tate McMillan ahead. Payton releasing early to Marcellonis.
We got a little mustard on that baby.
He thought the league would be easy and that he would dominate in the pros like he did in college. Payton averaged just 8.3 points during his first two seasons. His attitude was awful, and he had all the signs of becoming a huge bust.
Payton and Jordan having some words, face to face, and Hopper guides Payton away.
But then, with the help of assistant coach Tim Gerberich, GP started watching films, spending time in the gym, adding muscle to his thin frame, and shooting thousands of shots during the offseason, and it made a world of difference. By year 4, Payton was averaging 16.5 points per game.
Grabbed by Gary Payton. He wheedles his way through traffic. Drives into the lane. Nobody got him. Goes to the glass.
He was one of the most efficient guards in the league and arguably the best defender at his position. Between 1994 and 2003, GP averaged 21 points, 8 assists, and 2 steals per game, becoming the first point guard to win the Defensive Player of the Year award, along with 9 selections to all defensive teams and 9 All-NBA teams. One year after Payton made the 1996 NBA Finals, another high-profile college point guard came to the NBA and struggled, just like Payton. Chauncey Billups was the 3rd overall pick in 1997, selected by the Celtics. But due to his poor play, Boston traded him midway through his rookie season.
I mean, it was just embarrassing, to be honest with you. We was soft as hell the whole game. Nobody really fought. It was just embarrassing.
In his first 4 seasons in the league, Billups had been traded 3 times, playing on 4 different teams.
We fought. It was just embarrassing for everybody. You know, that's just not who we are. You know, it really isn't. There's no excuse for that.
Chauncey averaged 11 points and 3.7 assists during that span, shooting a horrible 39% from the field.
You have a lot of rough nights in this league, obviously. But I don't even care. It just wasn't even that.
It looked like he was going to end up a bust who would be out of the league quickly.
Because they had to be here but didn't want to play, you know, didn't want to actually work. And that's embarrassing, you know, it's unfortunate.
But then, in 2002, after the Timberwolves' starting point guard Terrell Brandon got hurt, Billups took over the starting spot and never looked back.
Get underway, but Shaq was whistled by Bernie Fryer from the side. This is Chauncey Billups working outside. He'll be a key man in the series. And this is Wallace hitting on his first shot.
He averaged 14.4 points and 6.3 assists in 33 minutes as a starter. In the first round of the playoffs against Dallas, he posted 22 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, showing that he's one of those guys whose numbers improved in the playoffs.
It's this matchup, and you can see it.
And then a big 3 by Prince. Here's Billups. Big one.
See, Billups can get that shot all night,
After his breakthrough season, Billups became a free agent, signing a contract with the Detroit Pistons, where he would become a legend. Under Chauncey's steady leadership, the Pistons made the conference finals for 6 consecutive years, including 2 trips to the finals and that legendary NBA championship in 2004 when Detroit upset the Lakers, with Billups winning Finals MVP.
It's important to him to get a championship, Malone, but he said the most important legacy I want to leave with my team is that they all know that I am a caring person that cares for every single guy on the bench.
During those playoff runs, Chauncey earned the nickname Mr. Big Shot because he always hit the biggest shots in the clutch.
Trying to take the Pistons out of their offense.
Bryant playing with just amazing energy. Here's Hamilton. And nothing like a 3 to stop that energy flow.
A total opposite of his early career. This next player was also considered a bust, but for completely different reasons than Billups. Drafted first overall in 2005, Australian center Andrew Bogut should have been one of the best players in Milwaukee Bucks history and their best big man since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. As a sophomore for the University of Utah, Bogut ranked 19th in the NCAA in scoring, 2nd in rebounding, and 8th in field goal percentage, and the Bucks thought that he'd continue to dominate in the NBA. Even though he was never a great scorer, averaging just 12 points in his first 4 seasons with Milwaukee, Bogut was a phenomenal defender, a great rebounder, and he had excellent court vision as one of those rare centers who could run plays and hit open cutters. In the 2010 season, Andrew had a breakout year, averaging 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks per game, which earned him selection to the All-NBA third team. But in one of the last games of the season, Bogut suffered a nasty fall, landing with all of his weight on top of his wrist while his arm twisted as he landed.
If you're queasy, you may want to look away. Andrew Bogut on the fast break throws it down, but comes down extremely awkwardly.
The next day, Bogut was diagnosed with a broken hand, dislocated elbow, and sprained wrist in what was one of the worst on-court injuries in NBA history.
As he tries to brace himself, coming down to the floor with that right arm. Ooh, he would leave.
Even though he bounced back in 2012 and was considered for Defensive Player of the Year, multiple other injuries derailed his career.
Across his first 7 seasons in the NBA, Bogut missed over 200 games, completely failing to meet the high expectations set by his spectacular college career.
There's Brewer. Brewer rushing at Bogut. Blocked by Bogut.
The Bucks lost patience with him, and on March 13, 2012, Bogut and Steven Jackson were traded to the Golden State Warriors in exchange for Monta Ellis, Ekpe Udoh, and Kwame Brown.
That time Bogut just outworked Dwight Howard on the glass. Howard never made it.
But he played his role to perfection. He was a defensive anchor and a great rebounder, averaging 8 rebounds in just 23 minutes per game. Even more importantly, Bogut was a great leader, with an immense contribution to the Warriors' title in 2015 and their record-breaking 73-9 season in 2016.
Blocked from behind by Bogut, but is called for the foul.
The player who almost got traded for Bogut when the Australian got dealt to the Warriors ultimately remained with Golden State, even though the initial trade that would send Steph Curry to Milwaukee was already agreed on. It failed because of incompetent Bucks doctors who made the biggest mistake of their careers. To think of Steph Curry as a bust seems sacrilegious after his 4 championships and the title of greatest shooter of all time. However, that's precisely what some fans called him during his early years, when ankle injuries were piling up, keeping him off the floor for extended periods.
Rockets up by 5.
Even when he was getting drafted, multiple analysts and fans doubted that Steph would ever amount to anything, and that Golden State was making a mistake for drafting him 7th overall in 2009. He was compared to Boobie Gibson, Kirk Snyder, and Adam Morrison, one of the biggest draft busts of the century.
Losses to Denver and Phoenix. Steph Curry, just incredible.
It's hard to even describe how much comments like that bugged me. All this analysis that people would put out there, all these scouting reports that kept the focus on what I supposedly couldn't do, said Steph.
Even though Curry played well in his first couple of seasons, finishing second in Rookie of the Year voting and breaking the franchise record for three-pointers made in a season, his health and availability quickly became a problem. Steph underwent ankle surgery after the 2011 season, which caused him to miss 40 games of the 2012 season.
You came in the league with ankle problems, and physical therapists will tell you that the glutes, hips strength has a lot of connection to ankle stability. It takes, obviously, a lot of pressure off the ankles.
After he re-injured his ankle, the Warriors lost faith in him, offering Curry to Milwaukee in exchange for Andrew Bogut.
Curry laboring, and right now his team down by 5. Still 35 seconds remaining. Warriors now out of timeouts.
But the Bucks doctors believed that his ankle problems were unsalvageable, nixing the trade, after which the Warriors included fan favorite Monta Ellis in the deal for Bogut. The Warriors fans were livid, thinking that Ellis was a better player than Steph. In the offseason, when Curry signed a $44 million extension with Golden State, a lot of people were thinking that it was a terrible decision for the Warriors. Many analysts were saying that he was a guard who couldn't pass or defend well, and that he had tissue paper ankles.
I had my first surgery, and tell my wife, like, there was a moment in rehab, sitting in the basement of my house in Charlotte, like a 3.5, almost 4-month rehab just on that.
While no media member called him a bust per se, the reaction of the fans and the Warriors' willingness to trade him in 2012 certainly made it look that way. But Curry wasn't the only player who got labeled a bust due to his injury struggles, only to win league MVP several years later. When Joel Embiid got drafted by the 76ers in 2014, the Sixers already knew he would miss the majority of his rookie season due to a broken navicular bone in his foot. But what they didn't know is that Embiid would miss the 2015 season, and due to complications with his recovery, that he'd miss the whole 2016 season as well.
Joel Embiid left last night's game with a left knee injury, adding to even more injury concern and speculation here for the 76ers superstar.
When Embiid finally suited up, it was clear that he was the most talented player in his draft class. The big man from Cameroon averaged 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks in just 25 minutes per game, showcasing dominance on both ends of the floor. However, after just 31 games, Joel got hurt again, this time tearing the meniscus in his left knee.
There were a couple times in this game where Embiid got banged up a little bit. The play earlier in the game was his right knee, I think, where he collided with Draymond. Here, of course, we're dealing with his left knee. And remember that Embiid has been missing some time because of this left knee swelling, this left knee soreness. There's nothing necessarily as he rolls over the ball here that I see.
After he got ruled out for the season and only played 31 games in 3 years, the bust label started to get thrown around.
Bite on those pump fakes, but he bit big time. Embiid working.
Embiid was supposed to become the next Hakeem Olajuwon, but he kept looking more like Sam Bowie.
Going inside, a beautiful move and finish, and for the first time, he shoots a career high.
When he became an all-star in 2018, Embiid talked about the tough times he had with injuries. However, while some players don't reach their full potential because of injuries, others fail due to franchises sabotaging their progress.
I really think would have maxed out Marbury's talents.
Rose wheels inside, Villanueva layup good.
Such was the case of Jalen Rose, who got famous in college as a member of the Fab Five, a squad that reached 2 NCAA finals, but when he got to the NBA, Rose was drafted 13th overall by the Denver Nuggets. He never really unlocked his full potential.
20, a game they have controlled. Jalen Rose with a steal. Rose prances in for the stop.
Rose averaged 9 points and 5.5 assists per game in his first 2 seasons.
But then the Nuggets traded him to Indiana, which nearly killed his career.
Stepping to the top of this class in New York.
This season, in fact, 30 points twice.
Under coach Larry Brown, Rose often collected DNPs, playing just 18 minutes per game, while scoring just 7 points and 2 assists in his first season for the Pacers.
Bulls still looking for their first offensive rebound.
Out of the corner, the jumper is good.
However, after the 1997 season, Larry Brown left the team, and in his place came another
Larry, who also happened to be one of the best players in NBA history.
Bird saw a lot of potential in Rose and helped him revitalize his career.
Right now by Indiana, they're in a real flow. Jalen Rose. The Pacers have tried 5-3.
In the next few seasons, Rose went from barely playing to becoming one of the best players on a team that reached the NBA Finals, also winning the Most Improved Player award that season.
You can show off yours if you would like.
First of all,
currently in NBA basketball.
First of all, y'all setting us up for failure with this one.
From 2000 until 2005, Jalen averaged 19.3 points, 4 rebounds, and 4.5 assists per game, showcasing that great coaching and player development can often make the difference between being kicked out of the league and earning a 9-figure contract.
Came across the basket when we resume.
Another team that parted ways too soon with a player selected in the lottery was the Cleveland Cavaliers, who drafted Kevin Johnson 7th overall in 1987.
Because KJ stopped barking, and Charles already had his first technical, and at that point, the referees are trying to stop all his trash talking. It's easy.
However, after just 52 games he played for the team, the Cavs traded Johnson to Phoenix, where KJ quickly showed the Cavaliers that they made a big mistake. After averaging only 9 points off the bench for Cleveland, playing behind Mark Price, Johnson averaged 12.6 points and 8.7 assists for Phoenix for the remainder of his rookie season.
Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school, so you can feel cool.
In his second year, KJ improved those numbers to 20.4 points and 12.2 assists, which was the third best mark in the league behind John Stockton and Magic Johnson.
Played by the official. Barkley likes to intimidate you from the start. He'll stiff arm you, he'll touch you on the head, anything.
KJ won the Most Improved Player award, he made the second All-NBA team, and finished 8th in MVP voting. Just 1 year after the Cavs found him obsolete, between 1989 and 1997, Johnson averaged 20 points and 10 assists per game with 3 All-Star appearances. Proving himself as one of the best point guards of the 90s, even though the Cavaliers thought he was going to be a bust. But there's another Johnson who got off to a slow start in the NBA and later became one of the best isolation scorers of all time.
On the personal highlight reel.
That was, I think that was more than...
Just like Kevin, Joe Johnson got traded midway through his rookie season, replacing Boston with Phoenix. But even in his second season, Joe didn't show any signs of becoming a future superstar. Drafted 10th overall in 2001, Johnson averaged just 8.7 points per game in his first couple of seasons, but then he exploded. In his third year, Joe improved his average to 16.7 points, and over the next decade, he averaged 19 points and 4.5 assists, with 7 All-Star appearances.
See if Joe Johnson brings this real low to the floor. Keep it down, real tight right there. You see how low he gets it? Goes right by Pierce, who's reaching again with that left arm.
ISO Joe scored over 20,000 points in his career, but playing center can be equally hard to master, especially if you come to the NBA directly from high school. That was the path of the second pick in the 2001 NBA draft, Tyson Chandler, who turned pro after averaging 26 points, 15 rebounds, and 8 blocks a game as a high school.
What a play! Yes, Pates has picked it up.
You see him try to make a move.
Oh no, he has a blowout there. Curry flipped it away and then tried to flip it off the floor. And then we had the Chandler swatting it out of bounds. Get that shoe out of here!
But when he had to bang with the big boys, such as Shaq and Dikembe Mutombo, Chandler quickly realized that the NBA is a whole different animal.
The Bulls center struggled early on, averaging just 7 points and 7 rebounds per game in his first 5 seasons in the league. Still fairly skinny and struggling with injuries, Chandler never developed into the defensive stopper and low post scorer that the Bulls imagined when they drafted him second overall.
You know, I love the city. I love the team. You know, I wanted to be a part of, you know, what Magic and Rob is doing, you know, and turning this thing around. You know.
In a deep draft class with Paul Gasol, Jason Richardson, Zach Randolph, Gilbert Arenas, and Tony Parker, Chandler started in less than 50% of the games for Chicago. So, in 2006, they traded him to New Orleans. Playing with Chris Paul and later with Jason Kidd in Dallas, Chandler developed into one of the best rebounders, defenders, and lob threats in the NBA, averaging a double-double for the next 9 seasons. While he was never much of a scorer, he won Defensive Player of the Year, made an All-Star team, and most importantly, he was a key player on Dallas's 2011 championship run.
Now this next player is still active, and he averaged over 20 points per game for the last 10 seasons, and yet he never made an All-Star team and will never get into the Hall of Fame.
It's CJ McCollum, the 10th pick of the 2013 NBA draft, who never looked like he'd be a dominant scorer one season, let alone an entire decade. The biggest problem for McCollum is that he's a tweener, a shooting guard in a point guard's body with a small frame that presents difficulties on the defensive end. In his first 2 seasons with Portland, CJ averaged just 6 points per game as he was too thin to play meaningful minutes on a contending team. Then, in his third season, McCollum exploded and resurrected his career. He averaged 20.8 points and 4.3 assists per game, hitting 42% of his threes, which earned him the Most Improved Player award. Over the next decade, CJ established himself as one of the craftiest scorers in the league. Even though he never made an all-star team, he went from potential bust to one of the best scorers in NBA history. Thank you for watching, and if you liked this video, we have another one for you right here.